Hello, I'm Helen Bradley. Welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to download, install, and then use brushes in Photoshop. As always, before we get started with this particular project, let's look and see what it is that we're trying to do. These brushes are available online. They're part of a series of brushes that I offer free online. But of course, there are thousands upon thousands of brush sets that you can download online and use in Photoshop. So I'm going to show you how you can find them, how you can download them, how you can install and then use them. And I'm going to use a set of brushes from my own collection. Not this actual set, but a different set. Before you can get started with brushes in Photoshop, you're going to need to find and download some brushes to use. Apart from those, of course, that come with Photoshop. But we're talking about looking for additional brushes online. Now, most of the brushes that you will be able to find will be free for non-commercial use. So let's just type free Photoshop brushes. Well, here I've done the search recently, so let's have a look. And you'll see that there are thousands upon thousands of pages containing links to free Photoshop brushes. There's actually 15.5 million results here. Now, if you want to be a bit more discerning, for example, if you want brushes of trees, you could just type trees in, and then you'll get brush packs that contain brushes that are tree shapes. Now, the ones we're going to use are some that I have created myself, so let's just click here. These are some hand-drawn Caravan brushes. They're available from my website, which is projectwoman.com. I have a page here of free brush sets, and the Caravan brushes are one of those sets. Here it is here. When you click this link, you'll go to this page. Now, you'll just type in your email address to join my email mailing list if you wish. It's a double opt-in process, so if you don't want to join the mailing list, you just don't answer yes when you're given an opportunity to do it later on, and then just click to download the brushes. Now, the brushes will then download automatically, and because I'm using Chrome, the download has actually opened automatically as well. You may need to go to your downloads folder to open up the zip file. Typically, brushes will arrive in an ABR file, and there'll often be a README file alongside them telling you how you are allowed to legally use those brushes, because of course the images in these are copyright to the person who designed them. Now, I'm going to extract these because they're in a zip file, and so I'm going to click to extract all files, and I'm just going to put them in a folder inside my downloads folder. Now that I've done that, I need to install these brushes. So I'm just going to close down my browser for now, and let's look at how we install the brushes. This ABR file needs to go into a location that Photoshop will see the brushes in. So I'm just going to click on the ABR file, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose to copy it because I'm going to paste it in where it belongs. Now, where it belongs is a little bit cumbersome to find, but if you write down the location, you'll be able to find it. So on the PC, we're going to the C drive, and then we're going to our users folder, and I'm going to my own user, which is Helen. Now I'm looking for app data, APP data, so I'm going to double click to open app data, and then I'm going to roaming. In roaming, I'm going to look for Adobe, so I'm just going to double click here on Adobe, and then I want my Photoshop version. Now, the version I'm using right now is Adobe Photoshop CC, so you have to install it into the particular version of Photoshop you want to be able to use the brushes with. So if you wanted to be able to use it with all the versions that you have installed, I've got CS6, 5.55 and CC on this machine. I'd have to put it in all four of these, but right now I'm just going to worry about Photoshop CC, so I'm going to double click on that and then go for presets and then brushes. So here's the location: C drive, users, your username, app data, roaming, Adobe. Choose your version of Photoshop and then presets and brushes. And you can see that I've got a lot of brushes already in here, but I'm going to add mine. So I'm just going to right click and choose paste because I had them already copied to the clipboard. And here are my HB Caravans ABR. Now because they're in this particular folder, Photoshop is going to recognize where they are. So let's just close everything down. Now to see these brushes, I'm going to need to close Photoshop and reopen it. So let's just go ahead and close it, and I'll reopen it, and then we'll see where the brushes are. Now that I've reopened Photoshop, I'm just going to create a new file so that we have something that we can work with. So I've just created a new file, and I'm just going to put a texture in there so that it looks a little bit nicer than it did. So let's just go and get a texture file. These are textures from a gentleman by the name of Skeletal Mess, who gives away free textures, and I really like his textures. So I'm just going to grab this one and pop it into my file here. So now that I've done that, I want a brand new layer to paint on. So I've just clicked the new layer icon here at the foot of the layers palette. Of course, the layers palette is visible by choosing window and then layers. And let's go and get our brush. So I'm going to select my brush tool here, and then on the tool options bar here, I'm going to open up the brush panel. Now at the moment, the brush panel only shows the brushes that I have actually appended in Photoshop. There's a series of default brushes plus a few paisley brushes that I've also added. But we need to go and get the Caravan ones. So I'm going to click this fly out here. It looks a little bit different in earlier versions of Photoshop, but there is a menu fly out option here. And when I do that, because I closed and reopened Photoshop, you'll see that all of the brushes that were in that folder are now in this list, including the HB Caravans, which is the brush set that I just installed. So I'm going to click it to install it. I can replace the current brushes with the Caravan brushes, which would mean all these brushes would disappear and just the Caravan brushes would be visible, or I can append them. Now typically what you'll want to do is append. So I'm going to click append, and what that does is it leaves in place all the existing brushes but adds the Caravan ones. So now I can go and use these Caravan brushes. Underneath each brush is the size of that brush. So this is quite a big one. It's 2309 pixels wide. So I'm just going to click it to use it. Now there is the picture of the brush. I can make it smaller or larger by adjusting its size. I can do that here by adjusting its size on the size scale, or I can use the square bracket keys. I prefer to use the square bracket keys. I just find them particularly useful for sizing the brush exactly the size I want it to be. Open square bracket takes it down in size, and the closed square bracket takes it up in size. Now I've got a color here that I sampled earlier, so it's a sort of navy blue. So let's just put our Caravan in place and click to paint it onto the image. So that is as easy as it is to find, download, install and use brushes in Photoshop. And because these brushes have been put in the correct place, they're always going to be accessible if they're not available here. All you do is click your flyout menu and go and grab the brush set that you want to use and append it to your current settings. I'm Helen Bradley. Thank you for joining me for this video tutorial. Look out for more video tutorials here on my YouTube channel, and consider subscribing to my channel and you'll be advised when new video tutorials are released. And visit my website at projectwoman.com for more tips, tricks and tutorials on Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator and a whole lot more.